Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for love and support as always. In today's topic, I'm going to talk about why do so many products fail? Let's discuss. Yes, in today's agenda, let's understand why do so many products fail? Let me share my thoughts around this. Understand one thing. Most products fail not because they are built or they did marketing very poorly, but because they don't get the delighting of our customers. The most important thing for me, if I wanted to put it across, is to achieve the market fit, right? So if you're designing a product, it has to be fit towards the market. It's all, you got to be so true about your customer needs, how rapidly these changing needs keep changing or upgrading for every customers towards all the products. It's all about, you need to understand the process behind this. How do we make better? How do we innovate the way we do process, and how do we create an ultimate products which really delights the customers? So let me share my thoughts around this. For me, there are two things. One, you need to understand what is the product market pyramid that we are talking about. And as I just mentioned about the process behind it, so it's called lean product process. So I'm going to talk about these two insights towards my video. So as I mentioned, yes, most products fail because I repeat, it's because of your product market fit is very poor. How do we achieve this? If you want a product to be created in such a way that it has to meet the customer needs in a better ways than any of the existing alternatives, I think you got to create a significant customer value. One. The two, it's all about a process. You got to create some framework towards this. How do we achieve this product market fit? I think let me simplify this. You need to identify who are the target customers, what are those needs which are not being fulfilled, and how do we define the product value proposition, and then you go with what is the minimum viable product features which we are looking for a given product. Then you build a prototype and test and roll out to the customers. I think this is what I felt the process will minimize a lot of rework and regressive steps if you wanted to think about any of the product launch. And also, if you wanted to achieve product market fit, there is two things. You have a problem space and solution space, isn't it? I think you need to be very clear. How do we keep problem space separate from the solution space? When I say problem space, you need to understand what are the customer needs, right? Because the solution space is mostly focused on the product design. You come up with multiple solutions for every problem in your product space, but this is, you need to understand the thin line difference between what is the problem space and solution space. So I'm going to talk about how the market pyramid looks like and what is the lean process, what are the steps in precise based on my viewpoints. What is a product market pyramid, which I'm referring here, right? So let's understand what is a market and what is a product all about. So when I say market for a given product, for me it is nothing but you have an existing customers and you have a potential customers who are those wants to share set of a user needs, as simple as that. And also you need to understand how do I identify the market size. When I say market size, in terms of what is the total number of customers or what is the total number of revenue generated, all those things. So predominantly what I'm going to talk about here is how do I map the market towards your customer, which is a target customer segment, so that you understand what are the needs which are not being fulfilled for those target customers. Because you first need to identify who are the customers' needs are not being met. Then you select the target customers. The second is on the product. So when I say product, it's all about the value proposition, right? So how do we propose the kind of a product you wanted to bring certain value, right? So for me, value proposition is nothing but how do a customer need for a given product, will give more value add, so that he will be strict with the same product, compare with any of the other existing competitors or other existing alternatives, right? So then you focus on what are the features of a product. So features, obviously, it's all about what are the options or features that you have chosen for a given customer needs, right? Then you talk about what is the topmost layer, which is a UI UX, user experience, layer. So you have to have a target customer and what is the needs which are not being fulfilled, then understand the product market fit, then you have a value proposition, then your features, then your user experience. The second concept which I'm talking about, the process, right? Yes, it's all about the process, which is nothing but lean product process. So we are talking about product market fit, right? So you need to understand what is the systematic approach so that you understand from top to bottom, which helps you to minimize the rework, right? So this is all about rework, and because since you are very, very thoroughly busy with the product design, right? So I think you have to create certain rigor, in your product thinking, right? So when I say lean product startup, it's all about certain process. By default, it has its own steps. So you need to identify the customers which I just mentioned, and what are those undeserved customer needs. So how do you define the product value proposition? Then you understand what is the minimal viable product. You build the prototype and you test with that prototype and give it to the customers, right? So this is how you move from problem space to solution space, right, which I just spoke about. So identify the target customer, and when I say target customer, it can be a lot of attributes. It can be their needs, demographics, behaviors. There's a lot of things, right? It can be age, gender. Many parameters are attributed to this target customers. And also you need to understand how do we create a customer personas, right? So maybe you wanted to create different archetypes of users, their needs, what they seek to serve. There's a lot of things for given persona, right? So we keep hearing these personas a lot many times. So but it has to be continuously updated, thorough, with one-to-one conversation with every customer. This is like an ongoing process, right? And how do I understand the undeserved needs? So undeserved needs means you've got to be very strong in creating the user stories. So user stories are very excellent way if you wanted to capture the customer needs, right? You might have already have certain impression on, as a user, I wanted to do this kind of an action so that I can achieve this result, right? So this is just an example for any user stories. So I think you need to be very clear on those user stories so that you understand what is the needs of a given customer, right? So that is one thing. Then when it comes to the value proposition, you're focusing on specific set of needs, right? So those needs are very, very important if you wanted to build a great product. What do you mean by product value proposition? That means how my product is better than any of the market alternatives. As simple as that. Because you need to understand what are the must-have items which I wanted to include. What is the performance benefits, how I delight my customers, right? So these are all some of the key aspects you need to be very clear when you wanted to define a value proposition. Then you have to have a minimal viable product features. So that means what is the minimum functionality required to validate your product design, right? So that is what I'm talking about. It is a transition from your problem space to the solution space. So you have a team who constantly brainstorming to come up with as many features as an ideas as possible, isn't it, right? So every benefit you need to understand for every idea, and every feature you need to capture in the user stories, and good user stories you've got to create with the proper solid teams, So that's what all about. I'm talking about minimal viable product features. Then you create a prototype. So prototype it's not an excuse to come up with a poor experience, right? You have a proper set of features, and what is the quality of customer value you need to create, and you already have a proper strong user stories, right? So prepare how and what and how many different ways you understand the scenes behind the customers, and see how better you can come up with a prototype which will be user intuitive, and at the same time it has to be thoroughly engage the users. That's what when I say talking about a prototype, right? So that is one aspect. And the last one is you have to test this MVP with the customers, right? So working closely with any product, you have a team. They're there for to fix a lot of critical issues within the product. So you need to have a proper users test, so that it's like a blind spots, right? It helps you to identify what are all those blind spots which are uncovered, and you have to have a lot of user tests. You do it, identify 10 to 100 customers with a deep down interaction, and do a testing and make proper changes and do it again. It's a kind of an iterative test, right? So once it's everything carefully done, then you identify those customers from your target market, and that's how you roll out this product, right? So I hope this is how you understand the concept or the process behind any given product market fit. Just to conclude my thoughts around this, I hope this helps to understand how a product market fit plays very important role. I hope this gives you a kind of an understanding behind the scenes. So if you really think that product market fit is not achieved after multiple iterations, what I've just so far said, I think as a team you just step out, right? So you take a step back and brainstorm on the core issue. If this still leads to a significant change in the direction, I think you have to create this is a pilot, right? So understand when do you take proper decisions, understand how do I recognize when this market product fit is achieved or not. That's how you change the direction and reiterate the same process, right? So I hope this gives you a kind of an overview on what is the process behind it, and why the product market the pyramid will help you to design the products the way how you look after. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe to my channel.